Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be talking about Stardust by Neil Gaiman, and I had been trying to read more Neil Gaiman lately. This one unfortunately fell a little flat for me, but we're going to talk about it, and then I did something I don't normally do, and I watched the movie immediately after, so we'll chat a little bit about that as well. But I'm going to put up a slightly different cover because, in case you didn't notice, this one's actually also a pretty boring cover. So we're going to look at this one while we go through the video here. So Stardust is kind of like a fairy tale type story, and it takes place in a town called Wall, which more than just the name of the town is basically the wall between the real world and the world of fairy in general. And we're following kind of this big story going on, but it all comes down to a young boy who ends up having to travel into fairy, and he's going to try to get a star that fell so that the girl that he's in love with will agree to marry him, and of course gets into all kinds of trouble on the way there as well, meeting all kinds of creatures. There's also witches that are after the fallen star, and we also have a plot line where the next king of Stormhold, the big kind of kingdom, will be decided by who finds the stone, which the current king, just before dying, threw into the sky, and that's what actually knocked the star out. So we get our characters, and it's Tristran. I'm going to say Tristan. It's Tristan in the movie. In the book, it's actually Tristran, which is really hard to say, so I'm just going to go ahead and call him Tristan because the movie was better anyway, which we're going to talk about. But so he goes off on his adventures, and I really had enjoyed a lot of the Neil Gaiman that I'd read. He's an author I've been trying to read more of because I enjoyed his books, and the last one I had read was Ocean at the End of the Lane, which I loved. I liked American Gods too. And Ocean at the End of the Lane was this kind of odd story, and it felt like it could have easily been very boring, but there was just this something extra to it that made it really interesting. I had commented that Gaiman was one of the authors. He could probably write about something like super innocuous, like grass growing, and make it somehow interesting. So I really wasn't expecting to have this book be such a miss for me, but it really felt like it was lacking that something extra that I've come to expect when reading Gaiman. It's the prose was still fine, but it just didn't have that extra flair. The story wasn't the most exciting, and some things kind of seemed to just happen. There wasn't a lot of characterization for a lot of the characters, and it just kind of honestly was a bit boring. I had heard that a lot of people did not care for this book nearly as much as some of his other books, and it was actually Angela at the Lit Sci Alliance. I was having a conversation with her in the comment thread of one of her videos, and she mentioned that the movie is much better, and so told me whether or not I like the book to make sure to watch the movie. And I finished the book pretty quick. It's a very short book. It didn't take that long, so there's at least that. And I went to watch the movie, and it was so much better in every way. It took a kind of flat fairy tale story, put that kind of whimsical energy to it, which is something that I feel like it needed. And the movie did give it a little bit more of a happy ending versus the kind of bittersweet ending that this one had, which I was fine with the way it was done, but like I said, it just kind of a lot of things didn't make a ton of sense. The movie seemed to really fill in the blanks better, and do a lot more, give a lot more characterization to several characters, including the evil witch, who's played by Michelle Pfeiffer, and the pirate captain is played by Robert De Niro. And yeah, this movie has like a crazy good cast, which is weird. There's a lot of people that I'm not super familiar with, but I mean it's narrated by Ian McKellen, for one. It's already mentioned Michelle Pfeiffer and Robert De Niro, who play parts that are a little bit bigger, I feel like, in the movie than they were in the book. In the book, they're there, but we don't get a lot of character, and they both added a lot of flair. You've got Mark Strong, you have a young Henry Cavill in it. There's just actually a lot that they did a great job with the movie. And like, I'm pretty sure Gaiman was involved in the movie too, so I don't know, maybe he saw that as a way to improve things, but the book was really flat, and kind of boring, and just like it didn't really make me feel much of anything. It just kind of happened. Whereas the movie felt almost like a different kind of like Princess Bride type movie, and I love the Princess Bride movie. It's fantastic, and it has just kind of that fun energy with everything going on, and it did such a great job, and it changed some things. Most of it was pretty similar, but everything that it did do, I thought worked out really well, made more sense in several ways than the book did. So I definitely, I know this is technically a book review, and at this point I probably talk more about the movie, but the movie was a lot better. I would definitely recommend you watch the movie Stardust. I wouldn't really recommend the book Stardust because I really just didn't care for it. And I know Gaiman's hit and miss for a lot of people, but so far it's been hits every time. I really enjoyed, and I'm still going to keep reading his books. I still have a couple, the Anansi Boys, which is the spinoff for American Gods, and I have Neverwhere, which I've heard good things about too. So I'm definitely still going to keep reading him, but this one just, even I can't defend it. It's kind of slow, it's kind of boring, the characters all feel pretty flat. The story just kind of limps along, and it trying to, like I said, evoke kind of that fairy tale feel. There's even a plot device which isn't used in the movie, but it's used in the book, where like these things that were learned as like nursery rhymes actually have power in the world of fairy, and that's kind of where those came from. So trying to kind of give you that feel. And I'm not the biggest fairy tale fan, so maybe somebody who's a little bit more into that would enjoy it. But like I said, it didn't have like the soul that I feel like Neil Gaiman has put into other books. This just, I mean, it still kind of had some of the hallmarks of his writing, but the like the depth and the life was not there for me. I just really never felt much of anything. It wasn't terrible. Like I said, I don't think it was like an awful book, but it just really wasn't anything special, and I did not particularly care for it. This got a 2-star rating from me, and I was really surprised at that because I didn't think, like I even said, I really didn't think I was going to read a Neil Gaiman book that I didn't at least like after reading some of his other books, which were even books that I didn't think I would like if I would have known how they were formatted and how they were written and kind of the style, because it's not really my style. But it worked for me. This just absolutely did not. So, like I said, movie really good, really fun. I definitely recommend it. It's kind of like a whimsical fairy tale love story, but it's cheesy in all the best ways, and the characters, the actors bring the characters a ton more life than what they had in the book. We get characters who were fantastic, who didn't really have that much in the book, and they did leave out one character, but once again, it really didn't change a whole lot either. With leaving some things out, changing some things a little bit, because it just, the book kind of was set up to try to do this whole story, and there's like a prophecy in it that's all supposed to work out, and you can kind of see where it's going, but the movie just did it all in a much more fun and entertaining way. So it's too bad I didn't read this a little sooner, because I did a prompt, the Can You Adapt It tag, and there was a prompt for books that are, or movie that's better than the book, and usually that's pretty hard, because often the book really is what really gives it a lot more life, and they're just trying to take a part of that. It was really the opposite. It seemed like the book lacked life, and the movie really brought it that life. So that's kind of where I landed on Stardust. So, like I said, this one was not for me. I really don't recommend this. I still enjoy Gaiman. I would recommend some of his other books. Like I said, I really liked American Gods, and I loved Ocean at the End of the Lane, even though it was a weird story. So those are some to check out if you want to check out Gaiman, not necessarily this one. I would say I actually do have reviews for both of those as well, if you want to hear my thoughts there. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. Check the link down in the description if you want to chat about this or any books. In the Wizardly Duo Discord, we're always talking a ton about all kinds of stuff. We have gift wars. We talk about books. We do all kinds of things. It's a really fun time. And of course, if you would like to see more of my content, then make sure to subscribe.